There's been a logo leak. A logo leak. We'll tell you all about it. We'll show you it if you're on the YouTube side. Plus, we got a Philly preview coming up. We're going to look ahead at February, and there was even a trade. Welcome back, Robyn. The Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast starts right now.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us and making us your first listen every single day when it comes to the Utah Hockey Club. I am veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined once again by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño. Robyn, glad you're back from under the well. You're not all the way out from under the weather, but you're well enough to do the show again.
I am finally well enough to do the show again. And let me tell you, Tom, having whatever this level of flu has been going around the world lately, this last weekend, you sucked.
I've seen it land some people low. So
I was bedridden for like a solid 72 hours straight.
Oh, that's rough. Well, we're believe me, we're glad you're back. Our ratings are glad you're back. So that's good. But hey, we've got a logo leak. We got to talk about that. The logos are coming. The logos are coming. Plus, we've got a Philadelphia preview. The Flyers are coming. A trade, and the trade deadline's coming. Four Nations is coming. I have a whole lot to talk about the trade deadline. That's going to be another show. But also, we're going to look ahead here to February because there is a massive hole in the middle of the month where the Four Nations tournament takes place. So we're going to chat about that as well. But Robyn, we got to get right to the headline. The logos were leaked online, and they were leaked locally on X. And then Frank Saravalli, Canadian hockey reporter, confirmed that those are indeed the logos, that the ones that were leaked. That is what fans are seeing at Delta Center. And I don't know how this shot happened. I feel like it's Google Glasses or something like that, but the shot happened, and I'm going to put them up on the screen for the YouTube side, and I'm just going to let you go. What do you think?
Oh, man, Tom. I mean, first and foremost, the Utah Hockey Club logo that they're putting out, the new Utah Hockey Club logo, the Yeti with the little mountains, that's pretty cool. The other two, the Mammoth and the Outlaws, to me, Tom, I'm just disappointed because it looks like easily something you could have just whipped up out of EA Sports, that EA SHL or whatever you want, whatever it is on the NHL video game.
You know what's funny, Robyn? Nobody has mentioned that or noticed that. That has not come up, and it certainly was not a snarky comment of these look familiar on the @EA Sports NHL Twitter account. That didn't. Oh wait, there it is on the screen. It did happen, and that is, Robyn, to a person, that is pretty much the reaction that these are all getting is. And even EA Sport, when EA Sports is clowning on you, I'm sorry, that's rough. But as you see there, Frank Saravalli's tweet confirming, and then EA Sports going, yes, we can confirm that those are indeed familiar. So I don't know what. So I mean, so you're saying you're not that impressed? Is that what I'm picking up here?
I'm not. I mean, I don't know. It just isn't like I know you had a whole thing about the names, and I like where we eventually got with the name choices, but we could be better with these logos. Like, it could be. I have seen some amazing mock-ups, Tom, over the last 8 months, whatever it's been.
Yes.
Fan mock-ups of Outlaws, fan mock-ups, really mainly of Mammoth. And they have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
And to see this, and I'm like, that's it.
You know, Robyn, and you and I were talking before we got on the air. In my day job, one of my other responsibilities is I do a lot of graphic design. I do a lot of broadcast editing and all that kind of work. And, you know, it's interesting to me because I look at this And I said, geez, what does this look like to me? It looks like every logo. I have a service that I use that helps me grab elements for things. It looks like every logo that is being produced on this particular service at this time, it just all has the very same, it's generic. And I am actually a little disappointed that it's not more pointed towards Utah, I guess. I really expected something more specific to the area, something customized. And I think here, I'm going to pop them up there again. I just don't see it with these. I think generic is the word I keep coming back with on a lot of this. So,
yeah, I do, because if you take a look at, some of the other NHL logos that have, I would say the newer NHL logos, because some of the old ones are, they're classic. You just don't touch those. But you look at the Kraken logo, right? It's, it's an S with the tentacle. It is an old style S, which is, like a little, really, a really old style S, but it creates a tentacle with the little glowing eye. That's pretty cool. I think it was it got a lot of popularity when it first got released. The Vegas Golden Knights with the helmet with the V inside of it, that with that gold, with it looks like that little bit of a shine to it. You just take a look at a lot of different ones, alternate logos that you go for other NHL teams, and then I'm like, a lot of these just show that they have that connection, and I don't see that in any of these.
There's a lot of questions you can ask. Okay, what would your design elements have been? What would you incorporate? Obviously, the mountains have to factor in there for me somehow, because it's a pretty imposing geographical feature. But there's just, I don't know. I feel like, especially Outlaws is generic in the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I like negative space logos. I like designs within designs. And you talk about the Kraken one. Like, if you look, there is that tentacle in the S, and I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I like that logo. And then talking about Vegas, I mean, whether you like or hate the Vegas Golden Knights, there is a lot inside their logo. There's a lot of reasons why they did things. And I like that attention to detail. They might have picked this up from anywhere. And I think that's the most disappointing part about it is, these just are simple. And not that simple's bad. Simple can be good.
It can be.
But in this case, I don't know. I just, nothing about it says to me iconic. Nothing about it says to me 5 years from now, this is going to be the merchandise that everybody wants to wear. I actually kind of, after seeing these, have a new appreciation for the word Utah on gear, which is, I like their font better than I like these.
And I know I'm going to upset a lot of people here, because because we're talking about, old fans versus new fans here. And it's going to be a little bit of probably a little bit of gripe, depending on who you are listening to me when I say this. But I think the disappointment is a little bit extra, Tom, when we came from a franchise that had the Kachina Coyote. That logo was like S tier, God tier NHL logo.
And I never liked that logo.
I loved it. I understood the connection it had with the more native side of Arizona.
See, and I didn't get that till I moved to Arizona. I didn't understand it. When it was the primary logo, I didn't get it. And no one explained it to me. So right now, if someone comes up to me and explains to me this logo and why it's cool and what I'm missing about it, that's fine. I want to listen.
Yeah, of course.
But I think if you were in Arizona, you got it. But outside, you had no clue. No clue at all. So I do now. Now I actually like it. But back when it was the thing, I did not get it. Didn't think it was all that good, because I'm like, what is that? I have no idea. It just looks weird.
I mean, again, and that's kind of why I do like to some extent, the Yeti, or you want to call it the Beast logo, whatever you want to refer it to as, with the inside the mountains on the Utah Hockey Club logo. Like, that is at least a step that, okay, that's going in the right direction.
Do you think, Robyn, and look, I understand. Okay, let me explain something too here with choices of colors and all that. The reason why there's one color in this logo, one color believe it or not, this is a consideration because the Nashville Predators, when they changed their logo to the current yellow and blue, they backed away from a logo that had 6 colors in it. That's expensive to print. That's expensive to stitch. It's very difficult and pricey. And so they went to a 2-color logo. Now you have in printing, there's different press setups. There's like a 1-color setup, there's a 4-color setup, and anything above that is stupid expensive. 4-color is typical. This is 1 color because black and white don't count as colors. So you have black, white, and then the blue color. So I understand why it's a 1-color process for that kind of consideration. But Robyn, from the creation of a logo consideration, are they kneecapping themselves with only 1 color? Does that make it harder?
I think it does. I feel like, and already having that preset of this is our color scheme, this is what it's going to be, no matter what the team name is going to be. I think that's what's holding them back a little bit. Adding a little bit of depth, I think that goes a long way. Adding just that slight bit, a slight bit of extra, extra pop somewhere certainly will catch the eye on a lot of things. I will give a huge example, Tom, something that to me that catches my eye of on another team, right? And I'm gonna bring it up. This is like a newer alternative logo, and I have it on a cup, but right here, San Jose Sharks logo. That to me, the addition to that orange right there. Plus, again, they added a little bit of depth elsewhere, but the addition to that orange adds a lot, right? Even if it's very minimal, it's they don't even have orange in their jerseys anymore, but just in the logo, a slight splash somewhere will significantly add depth.
So at the end of the day, Robyn, you have to pick one. Let's just say nothing's changing. Logos don't change. Look doesn't change. Which one are you going with?
I mean, it's tough, Tom, because I think just based off logo, I'm doing the one that for the hockey club. But I really want the name to be Mammoth. Like, so if you're on the design team for the Utah Hockey Club listening to this, get a better Mammoth logo, please.
Nice. I'm in my head, I'm imagining an alternate shoulder patch logo that is made up entirely of tusks in the form of an M. So if they're able to do an M, that secondary logo, that would be what I would buy the hat of. For me, it comes down to what would I buy the hat of? I have too many hats. I love hats. I have a hat problem. Okay, people. I said it. I've come out. I have a hat problem. So the question for me is, what hat am I going to buy? Because I want the hat. I don't know. That's what I'm looking at, is which one of those do I think is cool to wear? And it's hockey club, like the Yeti with the mountains. And honestly, that's not Outlaws is just
that.
It just is.
If out of all the three,
and I don't even think it's serious. I don't think they're even serious about Outlaws.
No, I don't think they are. I mean, and I think the only reason why, honestly, it looks like that is because it looks that generic. It really is because Outlaws came in.
They kind of don't want people voting for it, maybe.
Yeah, probably. They felt like they had to because Wasatch got laughed at.
It got
laughed at, and it. I made the joke. It got kicked out of the voting process faster than you can learn how to say Wasatch. Like
it did not make it very far. So so hockey club or Mammoth, right? That's where we're at.
That's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm either way, like, I like the name Mammoth. I'm with you. I like the name Mammoth. But if it stays hockey club, it stays hockey club at this point. So, you know what? I want to know what people think in the comments.
Oh.
I really am curious to know. Like, hey, find us on social and let us know what you think, because this, to me, is just pretty much everything I think that fans have been waiting on. Like, this is the most exciting news in your franchise's very short history.
It is a key moment. It is a key moment. It's supposed to be a big deal for everybody.
Yes. And it just, oh, man. Well, we'll see. Look, things can always change. And I'm sure there's even disclaimers. Like, this is not final. Like, it can go through tweaks and iterations. But they got to hurry because the jersey orders due soon. I think the jersey orders due at the end of the month. So they better hurry.
That's why that they're, the voting is, at the time it said over the next 4 games. Like, sure, maybe, like, at this point, pick your name. But if you find a name, don't worry about. And then if you're voting, maybe you don't worry about the logo. But Utah Hockey Club, once you know the name, by the end of this week, hopefully, get a actual logo. Like, get like 5 different logos.
Yeah, see, those are the logos. That is what it is.
I can't though.
That is what it is.
I can't.
Yeah. So we got to move on from this one. We could practically do a whole damn show on this, but we got to talk about Philadelphia. There was a trade. We got to tell you about that. February look ahead. I don't know if we'll get to that or not, but we'll get to Philly. We're going to do that next. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. 1 game, 2 teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, probably Mahomes, or betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to final whistle, no matter how lopsided it might actually turn out to be. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, well, that's just icing on the cake. Download the app, head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, we appreciate you being along here with us, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño. We talked about the logo leak. And I'll tell you what, Robyn, we're gonna move on, and you and I will talk more about it on social, I'm sure. But there's a Philadelphia Flyers team coming in here, and we can kind of mix this in with our February look ahead because here's the stretch. This is the last home game before 4 Nations, and actually before the last week of the month. So Tuesday, Philly, 7:00, and then on the road at Columbus Thursday, at Carolina Saturday, at Washington Sunday, which, by the way, is a 10:30 game on a Sunday for you early risers. And then 2 weeks off for 4 Nations, and we're shipping a couple of defensemen to Team Finland. Then come back with a game against the Kings Saturday the 22nd, and then come home 23rd against the Canucks, which is a Sunday 6:00 start. Then Tuesday the 25th, that is against the Blackhawks, and then Thursday the 27th against the Minnesota Wild. So there are 8 games left in the month of February, 4 at home, 4 on the road. Robyn, we're creeping up on the trade deadline right after that. Philadelphia is a team. Can I please say this is a must win? I've tried so hard to not say must win at all this year, but Philadelphia is not a good team. You look at the standings, Philly is second to the bottom in the Eastern Conference. They have 52 points. You need to beat the Flyers. You have to beat the Flyers.
You know, I've been waiting for the moment you said those words for a game, Tom.
I've been trying not to because I don't want to put the pressure on him, but if the hype machine was real from the preseason, come on.
To me, like, I think it is like it is. Yeah. A, it's a must win because it's all what you mentioned, but B, also like just taking what they lost, in the last couple of games. Like I'm just like specifically a loss to the Blue Jackets, right? I'm like, you need to get swung back in the right direction here. Like,
At least Columbus is a playoff team. I'll defend them that way, having a crazy season. Like, congratulations to Columbus, because no one saw this coming, especially with everything they've gone through. But you lose to the Blues, and you lose a tight one to the Blues. That hurts. You lose to the Penguins. Should have beat them. You get overtime points out of Columbus and Pittsburgh, but you need wins. I'm going to take it further back. You lose to Ottawa. I know it was the end of a long road trip. I know you weren't in the best shape. I know everybody was tired and blah, blah, blah. But that was a 1-1 game going into the third. Robyn, the third period is all of a sudden a problem, and it was the second. Now it's the third. They can't figure out third periods. They can't finish games. They're not closing anything out. And I'm no longer willing to, now we're 5 months into the season, now that we're in February, I'm no longer willing to say this team is figuring it out. I would like them to now say, look, we're not figuring it out, and something bigger needs to change. And again, I never put the pressure on them to make the playoffs this year anyway, but I just don't see the learning and the growth that I want to see. And Philadelphia is another chance for them to show me that they are taking a step ahead.
You know what? You make a good point, and I feel like, to me, one of the biggest things for this team, my playoff aspirations for this team was kind of mixed, right? I was like, yeah, they have a chance. But in that, it's each and every one of their games would be competitive, that they'd actually look consistently like an NHL hockey team. And, would fill a lot of the gaps that I've seen in the years prior. I haven't seen that. There were a couple games in which, again, they play absolutely great. And then they'll go a few game stretch in which they play absolutely terrible. It's the same thing I've been saying over and over again, consistently inconsistent, and I hate it. At some point, where do we ask for that change? Where do we say, hey, we need this move forward? Are they going to look inward if they lose against the Flyers?
I don't know. I'm looking at the schedule for the rest of the month, and the only games I see them winning maybe 3 of the 8. So 3 and 5 coming out of that, maybe a 3-4-1. And I'm including, I think they're going to beat the Wild at the end, because I think the Wild are starting to fall. But you got to beat Philly. I don't think they'll beat Columbus or Carolina or Washington or LA on the road. I think they're going to go 0-4 on that road swing. They could beat Vancouver. I think they are going to beat Chicago. But that's only 3 games, and I'm giving them the win against the Wild. So you've got to pick up 1 or 2 more wins in there, be it Columbus on the road, Vancouver at home. I don't see them beating Washington. Carolina just got a lot stronger. The Kings are a scrappy, strong team right now. So, Robyn, they've got to figure out ways to beat teams that I don't think they should beat. And I don't think I'm being uncharitable. I'm just saying those teams are better than they are. Mm-hmm. And the evidence backs that up. So this is where you take that step forward or you don't. And again, Bill Armstrong said, my players are going to determine if we're sellers at the deadline, buyers at the deadline, what we're going to do. And there's an artificial deadline coming up here with 4 nations, which is the other thing I want to talk about. You know what? Let's go ahead. We'll take a quick break, because we've got a trade I want to talk about. And then I want to kind of lead into something with that. So let's talk about that trade here in a sec. All right, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Hit the subscribe button if you're still here. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, come on. You must like the show. Come for the hockey, stay for the Robyn. Like, just you gotta. How about a sympathy like for Robyn, first show back, right after it's still a little under the weather? Come on, let's get that going there. Give us the old thumbs up on YouTube. But no, we really do appreciate you being here, and want to remind everybody that the show is indeed brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Robyn, there was a trade, not a big one, not an earth shaker, but Utah Hockey Club got a center, Sammy Walker, from the Minnesota Wild for futures. Now, Walker has not played in the NHL this year. 5'10", 25-year-old center, former college standout from Minnesota. And playing down in Iowa in the American League, doing okay. 2 goals, 11 points, 30 games. So I don't necessarily see this as anything but depth, but it brings up a point because dominoes are starting to fall early in the NHL. And already coming up on the break for Four Nations, some teams are kind of already laying their map out. So we've seen a big trade happen. Well, a couple of big trades happen. I mean, the Canucks have been super active. Carolina is definitely going to want to do more. Dallas has said they're going to want to build their defense more. The Nashville Predators have been open for business all season long. Colorado is not good enough now that they traded Rantanen, so they have to get better. There's a lot of things at play here, and I feel like Colorado was clearing the decks for something else that's going to be big. So everybody around the Utah Hockey Club appears to be gearing up, and especially in the Central, appears to be gearing up to make some moves.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty busy trade season. That's pretty much what it is. What February is, it's trade season galore. February essentially is our second Christmas because everyone gets the, for some teams. Other teams, it feels like hell because you're going through a lot. And not gonna lie, for Utah, it might feel a little bit like that. Things kind of moving around, not good. But looks like it's not going to go in the direction that we're hoping for. They're not going to go for the playoffs at this point. So we're going to see some assets being moved around, Tom, that some people might not like, some people will like. It's going to be an interesting one.
I'm going to plant a couple of seeds. Where's the boomerang going this trade deadline? I want to know where Buke's going. And then here's the other thing that's interesting, Robyn. A thought popped into my head when I saw it was Connor Ingram playing again the other night. Ingram has a year left on his deal, and we already talked about Veg on an expiring contract. What if I'm going to stir the pot with this? What if they're showcasing Ingram for a trade and they're going to sign Veg to a long-term deal and make Veggie the starter? What if they're showcasing Ingram for trade, not the other way around? Like a lot of people would think you're going to trade Vejmelka on an expiring contract.
I can see it. It definitely have to make it work, right? Because the reason what makes Veggie a lot more, a lot more marketable is the expiring contract. He's a rental. He can only be used like to, hey, get that little bit of extra push for someone trying to make the playoffs or make it to the Stanley Cup or whatever it might be. Can be, be that one, be backup for that guy, for that team, so they can add that extra depth, and then they can decide, we don't need you for this for this next run, and hit the free agency market and starts it all over again.
And honestly, if I'm Armstrong, they're both available for me for the right offer.
You're right. They are both available. I think to me is like Veggie's already got the marketability. So I feel like that I could see the reason why you'd want to kind of like push Ingram a little bit. It's like, okay, let's see where the better offer is going to be. Like, let's see who gets the better offer, who gets, more assets coming our way.
Right. And but again, Veg on expiring could come back. Just because you go somewhere doesn't mean you're not going to come back to Utah, but it doesn't mean you are coming back even if you keep him.
Like Boomerang instead.
So you better have an extension lined up. If you gamble and trade Ingram, you better get him signed. You can't miss on both. But I could see a team like Edmonton thinking they need more goaltending depth. I don't know if you want to trade in the conference or not, but you could. And I could see, teams in the East thinking maybe that's what they need. There's a lot of possibilities here, and I'm really interested to see as this deadline approaches how it plays out.
And here's something that I will say, Tom. In my professional opinion here, and again, a lot of people can probably have the same opinion on this one, but one of them will get moved this trade season.
Yeah,
it's not. One of them may get moved. One of them will get moved this trade season. Whoever the other one is will be the de facto starter. And then Jackson Stauber probably comes in and be the backup because he played admirably as a backup while Ingram was out with his illness or his it was his grief, little bereavement. But
yeah, and they're comfortable with Stauber. You could see that. They don't have a problem him in a backup role right now. Now, the workload might be more 80-20 than 65-35, but
yeah,
I think they're fine with it.
I don't see an issue, but I think especially at this point in the season where they kind of know at this point, hopefully, the trajectory that they're in, hopefully they don't get any false sense that they might be going better than I don't know.
Well, I would like to see us be wrong. Can I say that? I'd love to see us be wrong. I would love for them to make a charge into the playoffs. I'd love for them to win the next 8 games. Go 8-0. Show me something. I'd love to see that.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't think there's a person in listening to the show who wouldn't love to see that, right? I would look. Here's the funny thing. I hate to be wrong, but when it comes to something like this,
were you gonna say I love to be right?
No. I
love being right.
No. I hate to be wrong, but at the same time, like, if they can prove me wrong, I'll be okay with it in this sense because we'll be having fun.
We will. We'll be having a lot of fun. We'll have a lot to talk about. So, all right, Robyn. Well, any final thoughts on this one before we wrap it up? We spent a lot of time just dwelling on this.
I know we had too much on the name. I feel like
look, it's not going away. The conversations are going away.
Yeah, I feel like that. The option of putting this, the putting this on this show is opening Pandora's box for me, especially on my first day back.
Yeah, it's tough. So, but you know what? Reach out to us on social. Robyn is at Robyn_Leaño on Twitter, on Blue Sky at Robyn Icetime. I am at Tom Talks on Blue Sky. It's pretty much where you're going to find me these days. You can also find the show. Robyn, we're on umpteen million platforms. Am I correct?
Yeah, we're just about everywhere. You can find us mostly at LO_NHL Utah. If you are also on Blue Sky or TikTok, you can follow us at Locked On Utah Hockey.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here, everybody. And hey, are you still looking for some last minute fantasy advice? Because with players switching teams right now, and plus guys getting injured, February is going to be a tough month for your fantasy team. So check out the Locked On Fantasy NHL podcast. Those guys can help you out and really maybe help you out to pick maybe a sleeper out of the lineup or two. Somebody's going to have a lot of games. Believe me, games played is going to matter a lot in the month of February. So, all right. Thanks for tuning us in, everybody. We look forward to talking to you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I don't know. We'll see. On the other side of it, hopefully we're talking about a win over the Flyers. All right. So for Robyn, I'm Tom. Thanks for being a part of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.